Hi everybody, Sam here, and I'm going to do a book review for The Time Machine by H.G. Wells. Now, I really like this story. I saw the 2002 movie adaptation of it, which is way different than the book. And in the book, you have the time traveler, who that's all he's ever known as. And he starts off at a dinner party where he's trying to explain to a group of friends of his about time traveling and the theories of it and how that it's theoretically possible. He shows them a model of machine that he has, and they get into like this debate about it, and they're all basically telling him, no, this ain't gonna happen. Like you can't do this. So he does though. He travels into the future and runs into this group of people that were like a tribe that he starts studying because he believes them to be the descendants of man and wants to find out what became of people afterwards. So he befriends this one person in particular named Weena, and he figures out a way to be able to communicate with her, and they mostly interact with each other. It's like she's the one that he interacts with the most out of all of them, and really uses her to try to understand things and what happens. And it's their overall like relationship, I guess you could say, that they have is kind of cute in a way and kind of amusing at times. And I really liked her character because of that, because she added like a certain element to the story that I think was needed. And as he's studying them, he starts realizing that they're afraid of the dark and discovers that what they're afraid of are the Murloc, and they weren't very good creatures at all. Like they were attacking the people and all kinds of things. And he figures out a way to help them out of their problem. And he does eventually, long and short of it, is he does eventually go back home. And he tries to explain to everybody what happened. Because when he comes back, like he looks like that he's been through heck and back. And so when he gets back, like he gets himself taken care of, freshens himself up, gets some clean clothes on and junk, and he goes and tries to tell them everything that happened, and they still aren't thoroughly convinced. And so he does, he's talking to a friend of his that's an editor, like after, I believe it's after like everybody leaves. He's still talking to one person who's sitting there telling him, "Oh yeah, it's an incredible story and everything like that, and you should be a writer of stories," he tells him. And so like there's still people that weren't thoroughly convinced, and his friend at one point discovers though that he takes off and disappears again, and you're led to believe that that's the last that anybody heard of him. And I don't want to get into too much details, but he does tell the guy, he's like, "I'll go back," because his friend asks him, he's like, "So you were really able to travel through time?" He's like, "Yes." He goes, "And I'll prove it to you." He's like, "I'll show you specimens and all this other stuff." So his friend sits there and they explain that some time goes by, and his you're led to believe that his friend probably waited a while and he just never came back. So that was kind of interesting because you don't really ever know exactly what happened to the time traveler. And the last thing that they mention is a couple of flowers that Rowena had gave to him, which would have been cool if he could have showed them the flowers, because the way that it's described is that they weren't flowers that would have grown there, and that could have been the proof that he needed. But I believe I have an idea that where the movie kind of, I think, took some creative liberties. I believe that his time machine probably broke, and that's why he didn't return. Because that's kind of what happens in the movie. His time machine ends up getting broken, and that's why he doesn't get to go back home. So I think that when he leaves again, that probably is what happened. I don't know, because they don't really tell you. But that's just my theory on that. But anyways, all in all, a really good book. And again, is if you loved either movie actually, because they made a much older one, but whether you loved the original movie or the 2002 movie of the Time Machine, I think that you'd really like the book because it was definitely different than anything that I read because I liked the writing style, which was really cool. And thank you guys for watching and subscribe, comment, and rate, and all that. Until next time.